Hi friends, Kelly here. Welcome to my channel. Today is the letter E in ABC April. This is a collaboration that I have been participating in so far all of the month of April. If you are unfamiliar with this, there is a hashtag in the title of this video. Go ahead and click on that after you have watched my video, please. And thank you. And you can also go down into the description box. You will find a few more details. You will find a playlist. You will find all the information you need. But let's jump right in. So today we are working on the letter E, and I have waffled a little on what I was going to do for E, if I was going to be able to do it at all, because I'm actually supposed to be leaving in an hour to go out of town. But I could not get this idea out of my head, so I decided I'm going to throw on the camera, and if we leave late, we leave late. We're going to do envelopes. And we're going to do envelopes because I have an idea. So if you checked out my video yesterday, we talked about documents and distressing documents, and we made this little ID card thing. This is Bill. Bill is an engineer, apparently. I can't get Bill out of my head. And so what I have decided is that Bill needs more of a story. So today we're going to talk about envelopes because we're going to prep for our project on Monday, which is going to be one of those flippy floppies. So F will be flippy floppy. I don't remember what F was going to be, but it's now going to be flippy floppy. Actually, it was going to be foundation. Flippy floppy actually works for foundation. So maybe it's foundation. We'll find out on Monday, won't we? Okay, so Mr. Anderson here is going to be our inspiration. We're going to create something for him. Today we're going to just create the base, and I guess it's foundation, so it can be whatever. Sorry if I have to take any pauses, catch my breath. I'm once again talking super fast, and I'm feeling very stressed because we gotta go, and I gotta still pack, but this is so important. All right, so what do I have on my desk? I have a huge pile of envelopes. So we are going to just talk through these really fast. If you already have a collection of envelopes, you're good to go. If you don't, this is your moment to start looking at your mail differently, start collecting your mail. But I'm going to talk about what happens if you don't have a collection of junk mail already. We're going to work through that. So the first thing on the top of my pile, I actually do have this kind of organized in order. I just wanted to pull this out and just look at it for a moment. It's considered, vintage. It's probably from the 70s, maybe the 80s. This is an envelope that I found tucked into a cookbook that I inherited from my grandmother. She passed away maybe about 6 years ago now, almost 6 years ago. She was in her 90s. She loved to cook. She also loved to do crossword puzzles and play Scrabble. And so this was tucked in as a bookmark. She loved to just throw in random things. I have napkins that she used to have, like all kinds of treasures. And this is one of her envelopes. So this is my grandmother's handwriting. So this is precious to me. I'm not going to use this, but I do have it in this pile of envelopes. I have considered scanning it though. That is one thing you can do, is you can use digital scans of envelopes. Okay, let's carry on. So I pulled out a collection of just regular old brand new envelopes. So we'll look at those really quickly first. I have quite a few. Ooh, please don't. I haven't even cleaned my desk for my last video. My gosh. All right, so these are all envelopes that came from like greeting cards or whatever it is. I have cream colored ones, I have brown, craft color, different shapes. What I'm looking for when I'm looking for envelopes for a project is color can be helpful. It is kind of fun to have something a little different than white. White is not a problem. We are going to address that. What I'm looking for is the size and the flap, the opening. So I'm particularly interested sometimes in how this is going to operate. Because when I'm working on with an envelope, I'm usually making a flippy floppy. And when I flip it open, I want to know what am I getting into here. So that is what I'm looking for. Like this one is particularly interesting. It's rounded, and I like this more classic cut of the envelope. But not every envelope is the same. Traditionally, this, I would call this an envelope. I don't have any in this collection today, but vellum envelopes, glassine bags, to me, kind of fit into this envelope world. So keep in mind grabbing those things out too. Okay, so that's an interesting envelope. Here's another one. I just like this one because of the color. But then we get into white envelopes, and this one's fun because it's square. That's a little different. Here's your more classic envelope, but I do kind of like this rounded and the size. Here is a larger envelope that's typical for letters, at least if in the US. I think other countries have different sizes. I know they do. So all of these are US sizes, I think, for what it's worth. I don't really pay much attention to that. But so I have a couple that are like this. Oh, that's not well, it is an envelope, but well, maybe I don't have any of the other ones here. This one's interesting because it's actually got some printing in it, so that's a fun thing to pay attention to. And then here's your more classic reading style, card style. This was a large envelope that I started making a flippy floppy thing and abandoned apparently, so, but we're gonna keep that one. Next, I have a whole pile of junk envelopes. These are primarily return envelopes that come with something. Those are what I prefer to save. If it's a really interesting envelope that something was mailed to me in, I might keep it. But for me and the projects I have done and what I really tend to like is the return envelopes. So these often have some sort of window, so I like that. And I like paying attention to how the window is placed. It's different spots. I don't love when they have a lot of writing on them, but it's workable. We're probably gonna cover it with paper or something like that. This one's fun because of the inside. We could take advantage of that. And I do believe I have a couple of those. Yeah, I have a couple of those. Here's a fun one. This one was actually mailed to me, and here's what I usually do. If I get a really good envelope, I don't have a scissors out. Everything of mine is packed. We'll use these. I will cut the narrowest of edge on one side. That way I still have the whole envelope intact, and I could seal this back up easily, and it's a nice clean envelope if I wanted to open it on this end or I wanted to open it on a different end. So we have that style. Again, another one that I like because of the size, a little different. The red on the inside, hello, yes. And this one was mailed to me, I believe, or it got glued shut. I can't quite tell. No, I did open it. So I like top loading pockets with envelopes, so I like this. Bigger ones, of course. Another one that I opened, this was mailed to me. That's a nice big window. And then some that don't have a window, but, oh, we'll have to come back and fix that. But again, because of the inside. Look at this one. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like that a lot. This could easily be trimmed down. So think about your envelopes in other ways. I get mad when my husband opens the mail and doesn't pay attention to my request of my envelopes. So like they get torn. Oh, this was gold. I was so excited. My whole family was like, why are you jumping up and down? Craft paper envelopes. Thank you so much. With a window. Oh, this was from my mom's house, so I don't usually get mail from this company, but man, I snapped that up. Okay, so I think you're getting the point. And then you get this fun manila. Oh, I don't think this is called manila. I don't know what this paper's called, but I like that. There's a good color. Again, some of the big ones. So you get the point here. Sometimes I forget, and then I rip it open and I go, oh, why did I do that? But we can easily trim that. Double windows, those are fun. Here's another double window. This one's interesting because it's a bigger size, but it has a weird feel to it, so I'm not sure. This one I unfortunately ripped open before I realized I should have cut it nicely. And unfortunately I did it too close to this side, but that's okay. We can still make this work into something cool. It has a really interesting inside. Double window, here's another one of those. I get these every month. I should probably start paying attention to that. Oh, and then it looks like I have some other junk mail in here. Big envelope, okay. I think you're getting the point. We've got a lot of cool envelopes, more than I can probably ever use. Oh, here's a good shape. So we have plenty to choose from. And then we go into the big guys. So this is my stack of big ones. I have multiples of most of these. I just pulled one of each. This is actually a mailer I got from, I think it's Studio Calico. I bought a kit from them. a while back, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with this one, but I do like the structure. I don't necessarily work with this kind of design anymore, but I kept it because I might use it for something. And then these are all brand new. Well, maybe not all, but I have a couple of different styles. Same color, same size, but there's a difference in the closure. So this one's just your typical close, but this has this fun hardware closure. So those are fun to have. I've used one in my case closed folio, and I like that a lot. White, you don't have to have a color. You can have a simple, large, white document envelope. I've actually used this for some of my flippy floppy projects. This one was mailed to us, and my husband ripped it open. It was actually sent to his business, and I'm going to save it. I'm going to use it somehow. Honestly, if you saw my address, it's not that big of a deal. You can know where I live. It doesn't matter to me. Here's another nice big one. This one obviously had something on it because it's ripped here, but it's still usable. And we have a really big one. This is going to be a wonderful flippy floppy situation. I might use that one. And then I have a big envelope or a Amazon package. My address is on this one. Yes, I'm not going to flip it over, but it's a big package. So technically, you could treat this as an envelope. You can do all kinds of stuff with this. The main reason I wanted to share about this one is every once in a while, you should hold on to one of these. You probably get a lot of them like me. If you get packaging like this, hold on to one or two. You just never know. Okay, let me clear my desk and let's start figuring out what envelopes we're going to use, and let's start getting them prepped. Okay, so I know I need a base for this project, so I'm going to use one of these for sure. I think this is going to get used somehow, but I'm thinking one of these two. Now, if we go with this really big one, we can fold it up. That's a pretty big project. My other concern is, I want to be able to cover some of the panels, and that's pretty large. So I think this is maybe taking on a bit too much. It's a big bite. So I'm going to hold off on this really big one. I think this is more of the size I want to go with. Yes. Okay, so this is going to be our base. We'll probably fold that up. I know I'm going to want to add this in. This will make this a little bit easier. Then we need a couple more. I would like, and if you end up prepping some and don't use them for a project, you're not out anything. You can use it in a future project. I'm kind of thinking that one. Are these the same? They might be. And I'm thinking this would be kind of fun to add on to a panel as a pocket, but let's use a different envelope. Craft paper? I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe this one here. Okay, and then we need, I don't know, let's pick maybe two that have a window of some sort. We could go with a bigger one. Ooh, a big one. Let's do a big one. Big window. And then how about double? No, that's a good one. Just for simplicity, we could go here. Oh, I should use these, but I'm just not ready to. I can't. I don't know how many windows I want in there. Well, let's see. What if we just let's prep. Maybe this one, where'd it go? Maybe this one. I don't want to do double. The more I think about this, I kind of want a small window. Like I said, I had this, let's do that one, idea pop into my head. I was driving home from the grocery store just a little bit ago, and I was thinking, I was kind of bummed because I was like, I don't think I'm going to get an video in. I don't think I have enough time. And then I thought, what would I even do? I was going to do maybe embellish. I was maybe thinking of entomology, and I had said in my last video, like, oh, envelope, that's E. And then I realized, oh, it's tomorrow. I can't pull that off. And then this whole idea of what I did earlier today, which is the D video you've already seen, I couldn't get it out of my head that it would be so fun to elaborate on that fella. And then I thought, why don't I build a project around that? And then I thought, I could go back and we can visit what we've already done. So acetate, this is an acetate window, so we can play with that. B, I did book pages. Well, I can easily incorporate some book pages into this, which I will. C, closure. Well, we're going to need a closure system on this. D, documents. We're going to put up a lot of documents in here, and we've already got a little tiny document thing. Distressed. We're going to have to distress these envelopes. E is envelope. F will be flippy floppy. I don't know what G is yet. I have to think. I am confident there is going to be a lot of ID cards that day. And I'm kind of thinking I might do one too because they're fun. And then I was thinking, I have all weekend to design a new kit. I should make a new kit for you guys for and I should probably make a freebie. So yeah, that's where my brain was going. I was pumped and jazzed. So we're moving on. And so be it if we get to our little weekend a little late. I have to do this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and ink one of these with you guys because you've seen probably a lot of that. And let's grab out our paper here. I did just kind of go over that well, to me it was this morning, but yesterday for you guys with distressing the document. Oh, I also pulled out my envelope board, but I don't think we're gonna have time for that today, but that doesn't mean I won't play with that another day. Especially if I'm gonna now start building a project. I can't say every day of the month, the rest of this month, every letter will pertain to this project, but it could. We can tie it all together somehow. I don't know what we'll do for Z, but we'll get there. All right, so I am gonna pull out I'm probably gonna be using some antique linen today. We're gonna go with tea dye, vintage photo. Let's get antique linen on the deck. And let's see, vintage photo and tea dye. All right, so we'll do one together and then I will have to do the rest off camera because, well, do I even have time to do that? I don't know. This might be a shorter video because we're just really laying the groundwork and talking about how we're gonna use envelopes. And maybe what I'll do is I'll go grab a few other projects and we'll just do kind of like a little show and tell. Yeah, so let's plan for that. Okay, so we have one slight issue here and that's this. So I think I'm going to pull that off right now and let's just get going with a little bit of inking. So how do you tackle a project like this? Where do you start? Because I've already done so many, I think for me it's not as hard to wrap my brain around, but the first time I did one of these, I started with the biggest envelope. I really didn't know what I was doing. And so now what I will tell somebody who's going to go on to one of these projects is you could look at it two different ways. You could start with your big base. This is going to be like your cover. This is where everything's going to live. You could start with that so it sets the tone for everything else. Or you can start with maybe the smallest piece so that you can check, that is not antique linen. You can kind of test it out and see like how you want to, how light, how dark, like where do you want to go with this? And then build up from there. So you really could do it either way. Typically I start with the big one and then I kind of build my way through. This time I'm going to start with the smaller one and kind of just work myself up to my cover because I don't want to make a decision for my cover that later I'm going to not want. So that's how I'm going to treat this one. So I'm just, oh, I forgot, that's sticky. I'm just putting down a little bit of tea dye. And again, this is in the oxide. I'm not going to pull out the ink right now because, well, I might, I don't know. When I'm working on an envelope, I like to try to go open it up and go in as much as I can, or I think is reasonable. And I don't worry, because it's a grungy project, I don't worry if I get kind of like a little bit, if I don't treat it super fragile, however you want to say that. But I do want to pay a little bit of attention inside because, sorry, I'm so loud. Right now I've got like a harsh line there, so I want to try to open it up and just soften that up a little bit because when you have, I might have been too much. When you are going in and putting something in here, you're going to see that, right? So I try to be mindful of that and just make sure I don't have any of those harsh lines. I could have, where's that one scrap? I've been using this scrap paper all morning. The other thing I could have done is I could have protected that. Ain't nobody got time for that. I could protect it so I don't have to worry about my lines and then really get in there. And now I don't have to worry about that. So there's a way around that. I'm gonna go ahead and ink that. I'm not going to pay as much attention to inking the edges because I'm probably going to do that when I start using this. And then it'll also depend on how I am adhering it. This whole panel might get covered. It might get like, let's put this back on so we don't accidentally tape it down to anything. This might end up being, you know, if this is a project, it's probably going to go like this. So you're not even going to see this panel, possibly. Okay, so let's do the other side. See how I am just not being particularly careful? That's okay, because I kind of want it grungy. I want it wrinkled and distressed and old. I also have envelopes that I've purchased in like a kit. Like I know Margaret has an amazing collection of vintage envelopes in a digital kit that I have, so I probably will print a few of those. I'll try to remember to print a few of those, I should say, so that I can add those in. Okay, so I'm not going to spend a ton more time on this because for all I know, what's going to happen is I'm going to come in and I'm going to put something over this whole thing and cover up all that inking, so you're not even going to see it. But I'm okay with that because I might do a pocket on here, half the page. I don't know what I want to do yet. So for me, anytime I print or I ink something and I don't know quite what I'm going to do with it, and then I cover it up, I'm not sad about it because it's all playtime. It's all practice. I feel like I'm getting what I need out of the process. So I really don't worry too much about that. Okay, let's address a white envelope. So how do we take this clean white envelope and turn it into something that's going to fit into our grunginess? Well, the first thing we can try is antique linen. I mentioned this in my last video. This is one of my favorite staples because you can take this and you can turn it into something more like this. Takes a bit more elbow grease, takes a little bit more ink, but it is worth the extra time. So I'm just gonna add all, again, this is probably gonna get mostly covered up, but I don't know, maybe not. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this yet. So I'm just gonna keep inking this one and I will show you the end result here in a moment. Okay, before I go any further, I just want you to see the difference. So this is inked, obviously this is not, and see what we're able to achieve? Cool, huh? Yeah, that's why I love antique linen. Okay, let me finish this up. All right, I feel like I'm sweating. That was a workout. But that's because I'm going really fast because I really want to get this completely filmed. I'll do the editing out this weekend on my trip, but I got to get this filmed. Okay, so that was a white envelope. It is no longer white. So I can just keep coming in here and making some adjustments. I can also then come in and add in a little bit more variation, age it up a bit more with my tea dye and so on. So that is how we can take a white envelope and turn it into a grungy envelope. So now look at that. So these are going to be really great pieces to add into this piece here. Just so you can kind of see where I'm going with this, I'm going to do a little bit on a corner here because I'll do this completely off camera. I'll have this ready for us on Monday when we're going to be doing our flippy floppy. So here I can take some vintage photo. I tend to go a little darker on this color of an envelope because I know it's already a darker color. It needs a little bit more. See how we've already just changed that so much with just a little bit of the vintage photo? So that is how I will address this envelope. I also will come in and I will add, let's see, where is it? Remember yesterday when I talked about my stencils? So this is an engineer. Bill is an engineer. So I will definitely use this science-y one. I'm probably gonna, here, let's just do a little bit more on this corner. If you're like me and you tend to like push it down and then you end up with circles, just come in and buff it out. I do that all the time. I can tell you, I've never looked at a project and been like, I can see all the circles. It's fine. Okay, so let's just do a little stenciling. Let's do this little piece here. I'm gonna do that in scorched timber, just because it's right here. And I like its darker color. I happen to have some of these domed, these are flat felt pads, thingies. This one's domed. I honestly don't know if I notice a difference or care, but if you're wondering why this one looks just a little different, that's just because I happen to grab a dome, pack of domed ones. Okay. See? Cool, huh? Now that has that more opaque, chalky look. I don't know if I'm going to want to do everything in that. So what I also can do is grab the scorched timber. I have this in the teeny tiny ink. Let's do a smidge of that with, or we'll just do it right here. We'll just do some ink so you can kind of see the difference. So this is a little bit more light, chalky kind of looking, a little more opaque, and this has definitely has a little bit more, I wouldn't say crispness to it, but there is a slight difference. But you know what, I might as well bring, no, I'm not bringing scorched timber with me this weekend. All right, so we have our envelopes. We're going to have those ready for our flippy floppy on Monday. I will probably just take these with me this weekend. Well, I guess then I better bring my stencil. I was trying to go minimal on packing, and now look at me. All right, so I guess I'll take this with me so I can work on it and prep it, and we'll be ready for Monday. So now I need another bag probably. All right, so let me clear the desk, and then let's look at some projects I've already done so we kind of know where we're going. All right, so I have some flippy floppy projects here on my desk made with envelopes. So this is what we're gonna be working towards. So we'll be talking about the flippy floppy part of it on Monday, but let's just take a look at a few with the envelopes and we'll identify where the envelopes are. So let's see, we're gonna start with this one here. Remember that white square envelope that I showed? And then the one we just inked, the first envelope? This is the first envelope we just inked. And the whole piece, oh no wait, I take that back. This is a big one. I thought I had used one of the white square ones. This is actually, okay, so this panel here is an envelope. So we have the two acetate windows. This whole thing is our base. This is an envelope, okay? Then this is also an envelope, see ya? So I've just wrapped it around, and then we have a pocket on the back. We have a cute little card, and we have a pocket on the front that we can slide something in and out of. Now this one didn't have an acetate window in it, so that's okay. So you don't have to have the acetate. You can just have a regular window that you can put your finger through. You can also create your own windows with dies. If you have a die cutting machine, a big one, you probably can get away with the Sidekick. You can create your own windows and add your own acetate. That would be really fun to do, actually. So think about that. What you would do is you would very carefully open up a whole entire envelope, or you can make your own envelope. You don't even need to use an envelope that you find or you have. You can make one. They're not that hard. Okay, I'm going down a big rabbit hole here. So okay, so then let's see. We have that, and then we have an envelope here that flips up. As you can see, it's covered on the back. I totally just spit. That was disgusting. I opened this envelope here. I opened it up so that, and you can see here, it is sealed closed. And I think what I did is I actually glued that back shut. So the whole thing was open across top. I glued this top side and put the pocket here. This also has a piece of, let's pull this out. This has paper on the inside to give us this background. So there's 2 pieces of pattern paper in here that I just kind of stuck in there. I probably did that all before I closed this up, so I had more room to work with. And this is pretty, oh, and look, this thing just doesn't end. This is why flippy floppies are so fun. I can't wait to work with this on Monday. It has a card in here. So here's what the envelope looked like. Looks like it was from my insurance company. I have a little card in this pocket there. That would probably help if you could see there. I was wondering why it was so stiff. Here, this is one envelope, right? And we have a pocket, we have a side pocket, we have a top loading pocket. Then we have this thing here. I remember when I made this, I didn't do this on camera, I just did this one day. I just needed to work with color. I'd been doing so much grunge that I needed something kind of colorful. So I made this. I still do really love my color. But I wanted it to be, I wanted to see that. So I actually just did it on a piece of vellum. And okay, so that flips in, that flips, that's the top, that flips this way, that flips this way. So there we go. So there you go. One flippy floppy with envelopes. Okay, let's go to this one next. This one is this an envelope? This actually might not be an envelope. I think this is just an accordion with paper. Yeah, this is not an envelope, but it does have one that I made. So, but it is a flippy floppy, so we'll maybe look at this one on Monday. There was a little teaser. Okay, moving on to this one. I just shared a couple of these when I was talking about closures the other day. So let's see, this is not an envelope, that's just regular old paper. And it's funny because when I watched the video back to edit, I was like, oh, look at that. It was around the brats. If you've seen that video, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, this is another accordion. This is just paper. Well, it fits to our flippy floppy. So I guess we'll also revisit that one. Flippy floppy day. All right, well, this one I know is envelopes because this was one of my favorite projects, my masterpiece. So let's take this one and look at dissecting what we have. Okay, we have the whole thing is one big envelope. And I know this because we can open it. We can actually open the whole thing. See, it's just a white envelope, okay? I've sewn a signature into this one. So having it open up like this helps so that I was able to get in there and do that part of it. Okay, so let's get this all put back and go from the front to the back, which is so lovely. Okay, here we go. This is an envelope. It just pops up and let's see, we have something inside. Shall we see what it is? And get my fat fingers in there. It's just a cute little tag. So there we have a little fold up envelope. So this flap is covered up by this panel of paper. This is an envelope that, is this an envelope? It is an envelope. I have covered it with paper and I have attached it with, I have it hinged with some washi tape. I have a card on this side. So I've opened it on this side, glued it shut on the top. On the back side, it is a top loading pocket. So I have some bits and pieces in the back side. So again, you can see it's just a white envelope that I was able to alter with ink. So easy. So there we go. So there's an envelope. All right. Then we have, let's just flip it open this way. We'll review the whole thing. Okay, so envelope. Here's another envelope. This time I decided to leave, this doesn't really want to open this way, but I decided to leave the flap of the envelope on the outside rather than tucking it under this paper. And I've covered the whole envelope with this background, this paper here. And by leaving this flap, I've glued it here and here. And I've created a side tuck pocket. So that can slide right in there. Then we have just a slide on the back. It doesn't open, it's not a pocket. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this again. This is a solid, solid piece. Oh, that's cute. I forgot I did that. Okay, opening her up. Let's see what we have going on here. Let's do it this way. So this panel, remember this envelope here on the back, where we have this here. Am I wearing my microphone? Yes, okay. That would be tragic. Is actually on the inside of the cover. So again, it's closed up like that. Okay, let's work our way this way now. This is an envelope that flaps open. So here we've got this really interesting thing here going on. This is, let's see. I'm trying to figure out if this is a homemade envelope. This is an envelope I made. I made this envelope with background paper and an envelope punch. So this scoreboard here is actually an envelope scoreboard on the back. Tells you all the measurements. I haven't done this in so long. I'm gonna have to take this with me this weekend and play with it because I can't quite remember how it works. I remember the first time I made one, I was like, that is not right. I had to watch a video. But this one, I got it on Amazon. I will try to make sure to link it below. Came with a punch. So this is a corner rounder and a notch. So with this here, and it has a bone folder, comes attached. Just pop it on and off. I think it was like 15 bucks. It was not expensive at all. Totally worth it. So this is an envelope I made myself. So you can see that you can make your own envelopes. It's just two-sided paper. All right. No envelope here. This flips to the front. So this is just a panel of paper on an envelope. Opening this up, again, this is the inside of that. And we have just a folded up, stamped, embellished piece of paper with some background on the inside. And you can see here, when I open this up, I did not put this background paper all the way in to this envelope. Can you see that? I think so. It's just right here. Just on the edge that you're gonna see. Okay, so let's tuck that back in. Now open this flap, because remember this is all one big envelope. We're gonna open this flap up, and this is not an envelope. This is actually just, well, I take that back. It's a digital, and I think it does fold up to be an envelope. I can't quite remember. I'd have to go back and look. And we just have a tag in there. But remember that long, skinny envelope I had that was craft paper? It did not have a top. This is a great example for that. All you would need to do is make sure that you add onto it a panel where you could create your flap to hinge it on. Okay, this is a nice, cute little envelope. It's got a little card in it. Here we go. I do believe this is also a digital that I just cut out and... Is it? I think it is. Yeah, this is, because this is printed onto this paper and it's all one piece. There's no panel on it. So this is a digital envelope that I printed. And then again, we're at the main envelope. You can tuck it in. Okay, then this one has a signature sewn into it. So I have some paper. Oh, look, I can add more stuff to it. Ooh, fun. This was a fun page to do. Okay. All right, we're almost done. Tiny envelope. Cute little envelope, right? Craft paper. Just did some stamping. It's got a little card in there. I can barely remember making these. I made this like 2 years ago. And then I was so proud of myself when I made this one because this was one of my first projects that I really spent a lot of time on. I didn't know what I was doing. So take it from me, even beginners can make fun, unique, interesting, fun, just all around fun projects, right? Okay, so here's one of those oddly shaped windows. This is fun to work with. We have a card in there, just a cute card. It's pretty thick, actually. Interesting. And then for this envelope, I am willing to bet that I had opened it all the way up. Yeah, let's take a look at that. I can tell that I sliced this whole thing open because here I can see the paper continues. Over here, it does not. So what I did to be able to ink the inside, you see how that's inked on the inside? What I did was I sliced it open on the bottom, did all my inking, and then I closed it back up and I just glued on the very edge, just a tiny bit. This whole paper here is a panel of, it's a document. I can see that it's a document. And then I just created basically a template. I traced this window. And so you can even cover your envelopes with paper, with an envelope and an interesting envelope. You just have to create yourself like a little template and trace it out. All right, so let's get that crew back in there. Okay, so that is how I have used envelopes to create the project type we are going to do on Monday, which is called a flippy floppy. Now, let me make sure I am clear. This flippy floppy idea is not my original idea. This is inspired by Margaret from Seven Plaza. So I will try to spend some energy. That sounded weird. I will take some time to go and find some inspiration for you from Margaret, because she is the queen of flippy floppies. And I believe it is her term. She has coined it. She owns it in an unofficial way. So she is my inspiration for flippy floppies. So she will be your best director on a complete tutorial. But we are going to tackle this on Monday. We are going to make a flippy floppy. It's going to be super fun. And we are using envelopes. So if you want to play along with me on Monday, I should just say the date. Monday is the 7th. April 7th. We are going to do flippy floppies using envelopes. So your task over the next day, because that's not tomorrow, but the following day that we'll be doing it. I'm talking in the future now because it's actually Friday the 4th. When I'm filming this. So my brain is like scrambly. And I'm doing good on time. Okay. Get yourself some envelopes and prep them. That's your challenge from me. I'm still doing the pointy finger thing. I gotta stop doing that. Let's see, where is it? Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make our project. We're gonna use envelopes. You don't have to do this style. If you are not into... Well, we're going to be doing Bill. It's going to be more masculine. It's going to be more industrial. It's going to be more, that's going to push me out of my comfort zone, I got to admit. Case closes is about as industrial as I've gotten. But it's going to be more of a document, technical drawing, blueprinty kind of driven project. This one, as you saw as we flipped through, and we could just open it up again and talk about it for a moment. This is a hodgepodge. This is a little bit of everything. This was just me making something that I enjoyed with all the things I love. It's got bugs. And keep in mind, this was when I was learning what I loved. So this might be a really fun project for you to do more of this style. It's got bugs, entomology, specimens. It's got some color. I love color. It's got some unique and fun, I don't know how unique they are, but fun documents. Like this is clearly liquor. Some travel kind of themed. I'm incorporating different mediums. I've got some transparencies. I played with making slides. I have little labels. There's some washi tape. We've got, go that way. Advertisements. Oh, here's another pocket. Man, this is so fun. We have mushrooms. We've got birds, butterflies. Again, some vintage documents. We've got trees and flowers. Some more bugs and advertisements. Like, I wasn't really telling a story clearly. I was just having fun. I was kind of starting to lean into, I realized this is when I was really enjoying bugs and all that kind of stuff. But correspondence would be cool. A postal kind of theme. Margaret just released a really cool architecture. Oh, I should use that. Bill's an engineer, but maybe he's also an architect. I don't know. I might have to pull that out. She just released a really cool kit earlier this week that's architectural, a little darker, almost a little gothic-y in my eyes, and I like it. So mushrooms, butterflies, and then this one had a signature. I'm thinking maybe we should do that for Bill. Bugs, mushrooms, and then we've got people. We've got more, I didn't even look at this part. Look at, we flip it down, we have more stuff. We've got birds, we've got ledger, we've got, what is in here? Forgot already. Another little card. There's a little tag in this one. What's in this one? This one it's just stamping. I just had some fun with stamping. So these projects are awesome for practicing, playing, finding your style. What do you like? That's what this was for me. Here's a bingo card. Yeah, so you've got a lot going on. Flippy floppy. Shut it. Interesting closures. What's on the back? Butterflies, sample. Okay, so just everything. There's everything. So maybe that's what you want to do. Maybe you want to experiment, find your style, try something new. Maybe you've been doing this for a long time and you've kind of found yourself just going to the same thing over and over. Challenge yourself to try something different. Do something with if you never do flowers, do flowers. If you've never done bugs, do bugs. If you've never done travel, do travel. If you always do something in the late 1800s, early 1900s, try doing something that's 1950s to 1970s. See if you like that. That would be a challenge for me because I don't know if I do. Here's one again, or what I meant to say is, here's where I did something a little bit different. I did something more colorful. I did something that kind of represented a little bit more of me. In that moment, I was really transitioning from a lot of bright colors and a lot of like more modern-y kind of things to this whole idea of vintage and grunge. So this one was kind of more of a personal project at the time because I incorporated both worlds. So this is a picture of my feet, which I used to scrapbook. And then, you know, I've got some color and just different things that I really love and enjoy. Is this a pocket? How does this work? This is a double pocket. Oh, look at that. Here's what I did is I have a piece here so you could put something behind it or in front of it. Double pocket. Look at that. I don't remember doing that. This card is, look, I didn't decorate the back. Don't think I could do that anymore. So this one has more photos. Some I took, some I didn't. I think I took that, maybe. That might be my own photo. I just don't even remember. So, Reset Girl, I do some content creation for the Reset Girl. So a lot of honeys, which I do love. Oh, they're so beautiful. So this whole project here was very close to my heart because I was able to incorporate both worlds. So maybe that's where you're at. Maybe you are also in a place where you need to figure out your style. Maybe you need to go back and revisit something you loved. If I could do nothing else, my goal with this channel is always to inspire, educate, and encourage. So that is kind of where this little talk is going to round out. So I think we better end because otherwise this short video is going to be long like all the other ones. All right, friends. So that is the letter E for envelopes. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that this inspired you. I hope you're excited for our project. I probably already tried to end this video once. This is called the Minnesota Goodbye or the Midwestern Goodbye. We're out of the building, we're in the parking lot, we're standing next to our vehicles, and we still can't seem to say goodbye. So that is what's happening. So when my videos get like this at the end, please know that's where I'm coming from. All right, and then I will just abruptly say goodbye, because you have to. So thumbs up if you liked this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell for notifications so you're notified when new videos are posted. I have no schedule. I just post them whenever I post them. And come back on Monday. That'll be April 4th. No, today's April 4th. That'll be April 7th. Take a deep breath, Kelly. It's time to say goodbye. I'll see you guys then. Bye, friends.